I feel like there have been just so many new cats that have just been put on my radar in the past couple years that I've wanted to work with and just like haven't had the opportunity. And I'm not really a feature guy. I don't really have a lot of features on my records. I would say I maybe have 1 or 2 features tops usually on all my albums. But this record felt so Naptown and it felt communal.
We're good? You all ready? You good? Ready? Good. All right, ready? All right. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Conversation Piece, your place to discover the untold stories right here in Indianapolis. My name is Patrick Armstrong. I am your host, and I am super excited to be back in 2025, the year of community. We've got a lot of stuff happening on the show, because of the show, outside of the show. Make sure you're tapping in conversationpiecepod.com. Without further ado, we've got a very special episode today, featuring not 1, but 2 guests. One is a walking knowledge base of drum beats and samples that he employs as a producer and DJ. The other is the rhyming badass from Azkaban. They've got a new project out called Daily Rituals of a Wild Heart, and having had the privilege to listen to it already, I've got a few questions. So we're going to get right to it. It is my great joy and privilege to welcome Sirius Blvck and Scott Matelic to the show. How y'all doing?
Good, bro. Good, man.
Great.
Appreciate you having
us.
100%. For folks who may be watching or listening to this right now who don't know who either of you two are, do you mind sharing just a little bit more about yourselves? And we'll start with you, Sirius.
Yeah, for sure. My name's Sirius Blvck. As you said, the rapping badass from Azkaban. Yeah, man, I'm just a Naptown artist. I've been making music in the city for half my life. Hip-hop is, everything to me. Yeah, so you already know.
100%.
Yeah.
Scott Matelic, born and raised in Indianapolis. Also been making music for probably more than half my life. Currently residing in Brooklyn. Been out there for about 15 years now. But Indianapolis is always home. So, plugging away. Just been making beats and DJing, and that's what I do.
I love it. I'm here for it. How did y'all first link up, and what brought that about?
Yeah, you want to take that one?
I've been a fan of Sirius for a long time, since he kind of started bubbling in Indianapolis. Even though I'd moved away, I kept an eye on things, right? Like, I'm still a fan, and I love what the city has to offer, and always checking for new artists and who's emerging. And he was on my radar pretty early. So I was a fan, from the gate, just from afar. We had mutual friends, but I didn't have a chance to meet him until, I'd already been a fan. So I reached out to him. I actually sent him some beats, probably 10 years ago. I don't even know if he remembers that, but
No.
But
no, I definitely don't.
Yeah, it just wasn't time. So I'd always had in the back of my mind that I wanted to work with him. Bless happened to be doing a show in New York, and just mentioned the idea to him, and slowly but surely I started sending him beats, and then he would send back rough ideas and whatnot. It just took it from there.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, man. It was we linked up in Brooklyn at the Shaded show, and then you said you was like, I'm gonna send you some more beats. I got a couple, I think you would fuck with or mess with. Sorry. And,
no, you good.
All right,
Say
cool.
whatever you want.
Yeah, and then I was like, all right, bet. And you sent a pack through, and I remember listening to them and being like, these are dope. But then my brain was already going in 100 other different directions by then. I was like 3 projects deep, and it kind of got pushed to the back burner. And then one day I opened up my Gmail, and I found that pack again, and I went through them, and it was sometimes when you're not in the right space to hear something,
right,
you don't fully hear it, and then you go back to it, with clean slate, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
So then when I heard those, it was it just kind of sparked instantly, and I started hitting it, and we just started sending demos back and forth, slowly but surely, and eventually, you know, once we had like a few down, you know, a few demos in the chamber, it was like from there, he started like making beats specifically for the project. You know, it was like he had a pack, you know, that he dropped on me, and a lot of those, I think most of them actually made it to the album.
Okay.
But once he started like making fresh beats, like catered for the project, it kind of like took things to another level.
So when did you know then, as you were starting to send off these ideas, that this was going to be this particular album, Daily Rituals? Or did you already have that concept in your mind? Or how was that starting to play out?
Yeah, I think the concept started to form once I probably had about 5 or 6 good demos. Usually, sometimes I'll start with a concept and kind of have a singular vision and know exactly what I'm going for. And sometimes I'll just dive into it and go for it and then let it shape itself.
Okay.
You know, or find it amongst it, you know,
Sure.
in the midst of it. And I feel like once I started going back and listening to the demos, there were a few different consistent themes that were kind of coming up. I think it was just like, you know, rebirth and change and finding, you know, the aspects of life that kind of keep you, you know, tethered to reality. I think I also was just in a space, like a reflective space like that at that moment, like just really pinning down, you know, and trying to find the things that, you know, were keeping me tethered to the world and to the important things in my routine. You know, 2024 was just, you know, a crazy fucking year, you know, for the world. And
for sure.
It was hard to not get taken up in all of it.
100%.
You know, you kind of have to, and I don't like shutting my brain off and being numb to it, you know.
For sure.
So it kind of just started to form that way, yeah. But then once I knew what it was like, all right, you know, kind of just started to snowball.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that. I love the idea of like rebirth and reflection, because I feel like those were ideas and concepts that I was pulling out when I was listening to it. And we're going to get into that. I want to start with the title track, Affirmations of a Songbird, because I really like it and I think it sets this tone really beautifully. Particularly the person that you have, the soundbite that you pull at the end.
Mm-hmm.
There's a line that person shares there. It says, the concept of a ritual is the highest possible function because the ritual is an affirmation. We've lost that. And I feel like you just kind of explained why you got to that point. But I wanted to start with, where is this from? Because I typed that into the internet. I could not find it. I'm like, what is the origin of this? Because I'm like, I love this particular piece. I want to hear the full.
Yeah.
So where did that come from?
Yeah, I got that. I want to know that too, actually.
We're going to get it right here.
We could take that offline, maybe. I don't want to blow up my spot.
Okay,
but,
we'll just bleep that whole part out.
It's, I was telling Sirius last night, you know, just to like fill gaps and things. Yeah, I'll use like vocal samples and whatnot that are consistent with the theme of the song. But for this, I told him I was listening to like a lot of jazz artists' interviews from like 70s, 80s, 90s, and that's what it is. It's a jazz artist. He's like a free jazz artist named Anthony Braxton. I'll send you the link. But yeah, he's pretty out there. But he's also, I was telling Nick, like, he looks and speaks kind of like a scientist almost, but he just makes wild free jazz, you know? Like, I have some of his records from back in the day, but he has an interesting outlook on life.
Well, I was listening to it, and I feel like it's something that I'm like, what philosopher, what like activist or advocate in the 70s was talking about this and like laying down this groundwork that I feel like I'm learning about now and today, and like the importance of an affirmation. And I'm just like, where is this coming from? And it's just a jazz musician who's just out there. I love that. I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
sure. That's wild. That's really fitting, actually, too.
So what does that? And again, I love this title track, or I love this first track, because I think it sets this tone of like reflection and also like vulnerability in the fact that I'm going to be open and receiving, and I'm also going to give. Lots of, I feel like, conceptual things. what does that mean for you as an artist? Like this idea of the ritual of affirmation. And how are you trying to reclaim that or claim it even through this particular project?
Yeah. Affirmations of a Songbird, like, that's one of my favorite tracks. I feel like conceptually, the name, the title, that's the title of that song encapsulates the whole record. The idea of a songbird that gets up every morning and sings us a beautiful song to a world that pays it no mind, and how it continues to do that, through ritual. And no matter what, even though the world goes about its own, its own chaos, the songbird stands, firm and sings its song. And I think there was just something to that really hit me. And then the cardinal came to my brain. There's this family of cardinals that sing outside my window every morning, and they just kind of like flutter around. And it kind of just like gave me a little light bulb moment, and it was like, okay. But that really, I just think there's something, something special about that.
100%. I appreciate you sharing that too. Hella resonant, because my wife and I's like shared bird is the cardinal, because there was one hanging out with us while we were on a date early on, and it was just like felt very fated. But then now we have a family of cardinals that live outside of our house, and they're outside of our bedroom window all the time chirping, and it's just like that makes sense why that song, I feel like the song resonated or just sat with me in a way, because like a lot of that ethos is sitting there. It's built into the song. Yeah,
100%, man. And I feel like that's like the songbird metaphor just like spoke to me so much, because I feel like that's me, like consistently chipping away, at this block, not really knowing what I'm doing, but just trying to create, and sometimes feeling like you're in an echo chamber, like feeling like, do people even hear this? Do people care? Do people give a fuck? And it's like, you just have to push through that and do it, because it's what you're supposed to do.
I love that. Okay, let me ask you this. Is the affirmation then a self-affirmation?
100%.
Okay, great. I don't even have to ask the second part of the question, but let me ask you anyways. Yeah. Does that self-affirmation then build or create like outgoing affirmation? Not only affirmation for yourself, but affirmation for the world. Does that make sense? Yeah. Is that like, because again, like I'm resonating with this particular song in a specific way, and it does feel affirming because in just random context, like I'm feeling affirmation in different ways. Was it all like, it was all obviously self-affirmation, but was the intention to shift affirmation outward as well?
100%. I feel like that's the goal always, especially when I'm writing. Like I like to write from a place where nothing is singular. I like to write from a place where people can find their own inspiration or their own meaning from it. My favorite thing is when people take something from it that I didn't even mean, but it resonated in a way that, they needed. So yep. I feel like I like that, that space, that kind of free form space.
As a producer, and as you were building and developing and collaborating on the sound of this album, you said you were listening to a lot of jazz musician interviews. What other like inspirations were you pulling from that time? I keep saying title track, on that opening track, at the like right coming in, I got very like Pink Floyd On the Run vibes. I don't know if you're the Dark Side of the Moon album with that specific track, but just like something about it was just pulling me into that space. Yeah. And I know you are an artist. You're not just a specific genre of artist. You're just an artist all over, I feel like, and you touch a lot of different things. And so it made a lot of sense to me. So I wanted to ask you, like, what other inspirations were you pulling from and drawing from as you were creating?
For me, my process is always the same, regardless of what kind of beats I'm making, what style. It always starts with records, right? Like, I'm a record collector. I'm a record nerd. Everything starts with the record, right? And if something catches my ear, I just roll with it, right? So for instance, that one is something that I heard. It is on like a jazz rock album, whatever. It's like happens at the very end of the song. I just took it and I chopped it, replayed it, the chord progression and whatnot. But for me, it always stems from what sticks out to me on the actual record. Whatever moments happen on the record, that's kind of my guiding light, So yeah, nothing specific, but it's always the same process, right? The record itself is my direction, I guess.
For sure. Was there any? So do you end up crafting the 12, like getting to the 12 beats that end up on the final project before you maybe collaborate with him on all of the things, like all the lyrics that he might be written or the ideas that you might have for songs? Did you have those crafted yet, or are you waiting? And how does that collaborative process, I guess, work with you two as you're building towards?
Again, he gave me like a direction of like what kind of vibe he wanted. I would just send him whatever kind of demos I had. He would send it back, and then maybe I would like reshape things around what he was saying, or just to try to make it fit.
Was there a lot of go back and forth between tracks, like you send back and then you send back, or do you get pretty locked in pretty quickly?
Some of them got locked in pretty quick, but I say for a lot of them, like Scott likes to, I feel like, I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like once I have the solid idea down, from there you can kind of start to add those nuances and drop things out, bring things up, like, and kind of shape it around the instrumental. And I feel like that like really started to kind of like take the process, like further.
Yeah, like Dreamcatcher, that version is I think that's the demo that I sent, right? Like,
yeah.
I didn't really change anything.
Yeah, and I recorded that one. The version I recorded that we have on the album, I recorded that once. I laid it down one time, no revisions, just 3 tracks, and sent it over, and that was it. Yeah.
It's amazing how things come together in that way.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of specifically creations where it's just like the two collaborators and like you can kind of get to that synergy pretty quickly. Doesn't always happen when other folks come in sometimes. And I think one of the things I love about this album is the generational representation of Indianapolis hip hop. I feel like that you see on here.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering what that process was like for you of like, who do I want to tap to kind of bring their flavor and their sauce to like this piece, this ritual that we're building.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like there have been just so many new cats that have just been put on my radar in the past couple of years that I've wanted to work with and just like haven't had the opportunity. And I'm not really a feature guy. I don't really have a lot of features on my records. I would say I maybe have 1 or 2 features tops usually on all my albums. But this record felt so Naptown, and it felt communal. And again, trying to break out of the, boxes that I've placed myself in. Like, oh, no, I'm not a feature guy. It's like, but it's like I wanted to kind of just shake that off and really just reach out to people I fuck with. And, it's like there was so many off top. Keezy was probably the first feature I feel like I had. The Glass House beat was one of the originals, the OGs that you sent me from the pack. And once I locked that down, it was like, there are certain beats, as soon as I heard them, I was like, Keezy would sound dope on this. Or, like Morning Ritual with Corey, like as soon as I heard that. And once I got that locked in conceptually, I was like, man, Corey would go crazy on this. And then it kind of just started to fill in the blank. And then once we got further into the record, it was like, I just kind of started having fun with it. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to have Page God, do a prayer, for the haters.
I love it.
It was like, we just kind of started to get a little goofy with it, but it all kind of really came together really dope, man. And all the artists killed it. Austin, PD, OJ, like everybody killed it. I felt like they was really trying to wash me on my own album, bro. I was like, hey, bro, am I gonna have to rewrite, man? Hold up, what's going on?
Well, we talked to Maxie about that, about like what it feels like to invite somebody on a song and to know that here in the city, you're going to get everybody's best effort every single time. Or especially now with like the new wave of people coming into the scene. Like this is some top notch, like high quality music that's being made and bars that are being written.
100%.
And it's like at the end of the day, if you're going to invite somebody on, you also got to make sure you're bringing it because they're going to bring it.
100%.
I would say the back-to-back of Corey and Keezy is flames for sure. I love that 2 run, and we talk about Corey a lot. We have an episode with him coming up, but I wanted to ask you about Keezy. I was super glad to see him on there. I haven't had a lot of conversations with him, but I feel like he is just on another level.
Agreed, man. Agreed.
Just what was it like? And I love that it's like he was like one of the first ones to like lock in. Can you just talk a little bit about like your experience with him and how you just, like you said, the beat you knew that was going to be right for him, but how you knew like you had to get him to come onto this project?
Yeah, man. Keezy is one of those cats. Like when I first heard one of his tracks, I think it was maybe "Cheer Me Up." And I was like, damn, bro, this is different. Like, first off, like bro has the best beat selection in the city, to be honest. Outside of him and Corey, I feel like I got the best beat selection, in the city. And Keezy is just like a consistent guy, like artist, like rapper-wise, like he's just consistent with his bars, but just even as like a person, he's just like 10 toes, just like real chill dude.
Yeah.
Like just real good energy, brings a good energy to the circle type shit, man. He's a motherfucking hooper too. He sent that bitch back like 2 days. It was like, I was like, hey, bro, I got a track for you. He was like, bet, send it through. It's like a day and a half later, he's like, here you go, bro. I'm like, all right, hold up. Hold up, what'd you just do?
Snap just working.
Yeah, man,
Snapped,
he killed it, man.
For sure, snap. What, were there any where you were like, I might literally have to go back and do a rewrite?
Oh, yeah, bro. 100%, bro. Corey snapped, like, with the juxtaposition of our verses, I really love in that song, because I'm approaching it from the angle of an artist who's been in this shit, and felt the highs and the lows of it, and I'm kind of laying out, it's kind of like somebody looking back at the photo album, and just kind of replaying those memories. And Corey's approaching it from somebody who's stepping into it and looking at it and seeing it for the first time and being like, what the fuck is this? So I feel like that's definitely one of my favorite tracks. And he killed that shit, man.
That makes so much sense now that I hear you explain it. I can now hear that specific, like, conceptual juxtaposition in your verses, especially thinking about him. And he's been killing the feature game, his features recently. Like,
yeah, bro.
I'm been like, bro, you got to stop because, but yeah. And then the same way with Keezy, I love the way your 2 verses sit on that track because you come in with a flow that's so wildly different than what he is. And I feel like just that pull to like another dimension almost, I feel like I love that. I love just the way that those things are intermixing. It's just, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, it's so Naptown.
Yeah,
honestly.
100%.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, that was the goal, man. I feel like I really am super proud of this record. I know we were talking about it yesterday, but like, I really feel like I found a lot of different bags, that I had never got to reach into. That I feel like I got to unlock on this record, So, yeah, man, we're proud of it.
100%. You actually messaged me yesterday, too, and said that, because I was saying, I think I sent you like 6 lines of fire emojis, but about the album. But you had said that this was your favorite, and you weren't really sure. It felt like your favorite, and you weren't really sure why. Do you have even over the last 24 hours? You feel like you could explain a little bit about what it is that is so drawing you to this project? Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like a big part of it, is probably the way it was crafted and the way Scott, crafted the production and just really like leaned into the concept you know, once we kind of knew the Daily Rituals concept and what we were working with, you know, every time he would send something back, there would be like a new snippet of a film or an excerpt of a speech or something, you know, and it was like he started to kind of fill in these blanks with the, you know, samples that were kind of, you know, meshing with the tracks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like it just kind of started to come full circle, and it's like now I'm listening to it and I'm like, there's like inception moments and shit where I'm like, hold up. Shit's like full circle type shit.
Yeah, from the get-go, once we knew that we wanted to do a full album, I just wanted it to be as cohesive as possible. You know, I didn't want any kind of like a particular track to be like jarring or like feel out of place.
Sure.
So I wanted it to flow and to be an experience, really.
Yeah, and like I think there's an aspect of it where, you know, we went into it like this is our album. You know, it's like I'm rapping, you know, I'm a face type shit, but you know, this is our project. You know, we both put, you know, a lot of ourselves into it, and I feel like there's a certain aspect of control that I'm used to having.
Sure.
And this process was dope because it enabled me to kind of take my hands off the wheel. And,
what's that look like?
You know, and and let him shape it, you know, as well. And, you know, that like the sequence and just like the flow of the record is all him. You know, he really like, you know, figured that shit out, and it just kind of like really locked in.
Yeah, I was telling him, you know, even before we had all the songs done, when I would just listen to these demo versions, there were certain songs I would listen to like in a certain order, right? And so that really kind of helped shape the final sequence of the album. But yeah.
I love that. And that was something I noticed like immediately since you've released the cover art and stuff, like both your names, top line, like top billing. And we were talking off mic before about that you don't see that very often, producers getting the elevation to like, this is also ours, even though they're doing at least 50% of the work on creating a project. Was that always the case? Was it always like, this is always ours and not so much, this is a serious project that Scott is producing?
Yeah, I think it kind of just, you know, internally was always that. It was just an unspoken thing, you know, that was like, we just knew it was both our project, you know, I think. And I think like when we didn't have the concept and we didn't know what we were doing, we were just kind of sending demos back and forth, you know, we didn't even know we had an album, you know. So it was like once we started to, you know, once the snowball rolled enough and we knew what we were looking at, you know, it was very obvious, you know, this was our project.
Yeah, I would have been fine if my name was omitted, but it's a good look. I appreciate it.
It is a good look. The cover art and stuff is fire. It's so good.
Thank you.
And it's just like visually striking, and then you see who's on the album and you're like, okay, I got to be tapped in now. I love what you said, like you wanted to craft an experience and something that was cohesive, and I feel like I really am enjoying the contextual content that's been coming out in addition to the album, like in preparation for. And so you just shared on socials the Troy Manor video. We went back and checked out Troy Manor. You're talking about kind of your experience there. And so I went back to this clip this morning, and something you said stuck out to me. You said, it's good to come back, even if just for a second, to remind yourself. You just talked about this feeling kind of full circle, and especially the way like Scott brought everything together felt full circle. I was wondering, does it feel full circle as well from those freestyle moments on the basketball courts at Troy Manor, or does it feel like it's the next level in the evolution that you've made as a human and as an artist from where you were at Troy Manor?
Yeah, I would say the circle's not full yet.
Okay.
You know, we haven't made a full round around the sun yet, but I feel like the second part of that question, absolutely. I think I wanted to go back for a while. I used to have a lot of family there. You know, people have, you know, left and things like that. So me and my homie Sam was just like, yo, you know, he was like, yo, I want you to take me to somewhere, you know, that, you know, kind of meant something to you, you know, when you were younger. And I don't know if Troy Manor necessarily meant something for me, but I cut my teeth there. You know, I've found, you know, myself in a lot of different ways, and you know, especially like having hip hop and just coming into Indianapolis, you know, from Gary, and just sitting in that room and just writing and writing and writing and writing, and you know, not really having any friends yet. You know, it was like rap and freestyling was like the thing that, you know, got me the pat on the back, or you know, got me in the circle type shit. You know, made me feel like, oh, there's something to this. You know. Yeah, so it was really dope to go back, you know, just to remind yourself of like, damn, you know, we did come a long way. It's easy to get tunnel vision and forget, you know.
Sure.
And it's like sometimes you really just got to stop and look back and be like, oh shit, man, we did actually come pretty far.
For sure. When the circle's still not closed, you're still closing the circle. I like that.
Yeah.
Working around from there. So in terms of contextual stuff, I was looking for things about Scott in this because I knew he was going to come here, and I could only find one interview that you've ever done. It's from 17 years ago with Indianapolis outlet. I don't remember, can't even remember the name of it now, but I thought it was really interesting because, like, from what I had read, I could tell that you had been doing this for a long time, but to be able to sit here and see you talking about it was like, oh, okay, like, for sure, in a room full of records. And when you talked about, like, come from a musical family and how you always kind of had the affirmation to choose and chase after music. I was wondering, like, you've been in Brooklyn now for 15 years, and like you said, you always kept an eye on what's going on in Indy. Being a part of this project now, being that it's your project in addition to Sirius as well, what has that felt like for you to create something that is so Nap in the long line, in the long history of things that you have created both here and afar?
I always wanted to do something Indianapolis oriented with rappers. Actually, when I first moved to New York in 2010, I remember reaching out to OJ and being like, man, I want to do this EP, like not just him, but I wanted to feature local artists. And it just didn't happen. But that was always on my mind, right? Like whether it was like an EP or an LP with just a bunch of different indie artists, that's something that I'd always thought about. And I didn't really know how to approach it or like reaching out. Like I said, I sent him beats like 10 years ago. It just, you know, nothing came of it. So it wasn't time. But I'm glad now to finally be able to fulfill this dream, right? Like it's it feels good, to be honest, you know, and I want to be supportive of the scene. You know, I like so many of the artists coming up. I feel like now, even like when I first started going to shows here, I feel like now it's the best the scene has ever been, right? There's so many talented people here, and it just continues to grow and get better. So yeah, I mean, I'm thankful that I finally got to do something so Indianapolis oriented for myself.
Does that feel like a full circle moment for you then? Or are you in the same period of like, we're still closing the circle, it's not yet closed?
I want to keep going. You know, it's
For
just
sure.
not like a one thing. There's so many people I want to work with. And Nick and I, you know, we want to keep it going too. So
100%. 100%. So we've talked a lot about a lot about process, a lot about conceptualization. One thing that we haven't talked about is literal ritual. It's called Daily Rituals. Did y'all have specific like things that you were doing on the daily that kind of grounded you in the space of creating while you were going through the process of creating this album?
Smoking weed.
I'm here for that. I'm here for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. That's definitely one of my daily rituals or crutches. I don't know. You can call it what you want, but
I think it's subjective to the beholder.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Yeah, man. I feel like it's been funny. You know, like there are definitely like coming up with the concept as it started to form, like you start to ask yourself, what are the daily rituals in your life, that kind of keep you tethered to the world around you, and it's like, it's always the same ones, it's like family, like friends, like, music, weed, that's like the four horsemen right there for
there
me.
you go.
So, yeah.
The four horsemen to ride. What about you, Scott? Do you have daily rituals? Maybe not even with this particular album, but just in the way that you go about creating.
Yeah, I hadn't really considered it, but yeah, I wake up, open my blinds. I love sunlight, so make my coffee, start going through records, like working on beats. That
sounds like a great way to live. Wake up, get some coffee, and make a beat. I like it.
Yeah.
Do you still have a pretty robust collection of your own that you can go through, or?
Yeah, for sure. I still have records here.
Okay.
I had a storage unit for years. Storage units are a ripoff, by the way. But I finally actually, I was back right around Labor Day to move my storage unit back to my parents' basement. They're kind enough to let me bring it back. But yeah, I have like half here and then half in New York, which is, don't start a record collection because it's like, it's a slippery slope, man. Like, it can get out of hand real quick.
For sure.
I love that you didn't even say, like, you wasn't even going to, like, entertain us with the number. You were just like, half is here, half is there.
Yeah, I mean, it's thousands for sure.
It maybe even in the tens of thousands, potentially. I mean, half and half in two different places. And if it's anything like from 17 years ago, there was a lot of records in that video.
Yeah,
that has to be.
It's gotten bigger, yeah.
What do you want people to walk away with from this record? What's something that you hope people can walk away with after they press play?
Yeah. I hope people walk away feeling rejuvenated. I hope people walk away like, with a fire in their belly. Usually, like, I'm so used to, like, I found hip hop in a way through trauma, because it was like the life, put a lot on me as a child, and I had to I found this thing to help channel all this shit through, to make sense of this shit that don't make sense.
Yep.
And because of that, I've always felt like I do my best work from a dark place. When I'm going through something or when life is kicking my ass, my first thought is, well, I gotta go right. So like I wanted to steer away from that with this record. I wanted to come from a place, I wanted to come from a higher vibration, and just really like try and take myself and the music out of that space, and I think Scott's production definitely did that. The beat for Dreamcatcher, it's like you have no choice but to reflect and find solace. It's
For
like
sure.
it forces you to do that, in the best way. So yeah, I think it's. I hope people walk away feeling rejuvenated and feeling like they want to go do something special. Yeah.
I love that. I'm here for it. Do you have something that you hope people take away from it as well?
I just wanted to resonate with people here in Indianapolis specifically, but I want to help shine a light on what the city has to offer too.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I echo that sentiment as well.
For sure. Definitely resonates. Made me activated, I think, and made me feel the fire and want to go, ready to go. And I love this idea of like, I know where the bag is that I've always created from. Where can I step out and create from another space?
Mm-hmm.
And I think 100% you've knocked that out of 10 different ballparks with one swing. Is that, now that you've done that, is that something you want to continue to do as a creative, or are there other places that you hope to explore going forward?
Yeah, I feel like this record just it helped me carve out another lane, and now I can kind of change lanes whenever I want, I feel like with every record you're either like building on the same road or you're forging a new path, and I feel like that's what we did with this one. We tried to forge a new path, and I feel like even though, the way we put it together, is very like, we're coming from the core of this shit, like he's chopping this shit up off wax, and I'm like, we're sending shit back and forth. I feel like, but it still feels fresh, it feels new. There's like a nostalgic aspect to it, but the approach is futuristic. So I'm excited about it, man.
I love that and 100% agree. I think conceptually it's like stuff that we'll always be talking about or stuff that we're going to continue to be talking about, but the approach is new. And I think that's what I love about the scene right now and I'm new to the scene and just as a fan and learning, and I feel like there's so much to consume. And I just feel like I feel really lucky to be finding it now because it's like you just can't look in anywhere in any direction and find something that you won't vibe with in a way
100%.
that's new that you probably haven't heard before, which I think is what's cool about the city.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about the city. We've talked a lot about this project being a product of the city, but also something, a project for the city. I want to ask you both, how do you define Indianapolis for each of you? What does that mean? What does Indianapolis mean to you?
Yeah. I think Indianapolis is a place where you have to drag inspiration out the dirt sometimes. We got to get it out the soil. We don't have a lot of bells and whistles. We don't got, nobody checking for us. Ain't no light shining on us. Like we got to create that. We got to create our own light. So I think like there's something to just the work ethic of Indianapolis artists that really is something special. I think in just the approach, I think there's an aspect of camaraderie that we don't really necessarily give ourselves credit for, that I think we should. I think aspects of like Treese, are a testament to that. Yeah, man. I think Indianapolis is a special place. It really, shaped me, I always say like, G.I. raised me, but Naptown made me, and it really did. So, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, for me, it's just home base. It's where my whole family is. I come back often, 4, 5, 6 times a year, really. It's the most comfortable place for me to be.
I love it. I appreciate you both for sharing that. And I appreciate you both just coming here to talk about the album, giving me time, giving me the opportunity to listen, but then making time to come and sit and share a little bit, especially about the creative process. I think if we could tap into some of that with artists more, us as consumers and as fans would have a greater appreciation of the work that goes into creating something like this. So I appreciate you giving us the opportunity to have this conversation. I got a couple more questions before I let you all get out of here, if that's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
We have a recurring set. So we've talked community a lot. This is the year of community. You built this album in community with other artists here in the city. We have a recurring segment called Give Them Their Flowers, where we ask our guests to shout out someone or people who they think deserve their flowers at the moment. I want to ask both of you to shout out somebody if you'd like, but I would like both of you to shout out each other and give each other flowers if you don't mind doing so. And we'll start with Scott. If you give Sirius his flowers and anybody else that you like to give flowers.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, Sirius is the best in the city, He's what, if you have to give an example of Indianapolis hip-hop, I think he's your guy. And I'm thankful that, he locked in with me and asked me to do a whole album. I'm super appreciative. He always has, like, really incredible things to say, right? Anytime you hear him rap, he's got something that's going to stick with you. Like I said, when I first heard him, it really made an impression with me. So I'm glad we finally got to lock in and do this thing together. So thank you.
Appreciate you, man.
Somebody outside, I mean, it's got to be Top Speed, really. I mean, he's done so much for so many people, literally like hundreds of people, if not thousands at this point, that he's like taken under his wing, you know. And I was one of those kids at one point in time, but he really helped with like show me the record game, production game. There were a lot of people as well in addition to him, but he was our guy, you know.
For sure.
It was like you go to his house back in the day, and it was like you got a peek behind the curtain, right? Hip hop was still mysterious to me, and how beats were made. It just sounded like music. But then, you know, he broke it down to like, you know, these drums come from this sample comes from this record. You start piecing things together, and you know, you get a glimpse of how it's made. But yeah, he was like my first, I guess, like a mentor, right? Like,
Love it.
Put me on to a lot of game for sure.
Shout out Top Speed.
Oh, yeah,
100%.
Legend. Yeah, man. Flowers. I mean, Scott's a legend, bro. Like, this man really is a motherfucking legend, bro. Like, we was just chopping it up yesterday, and he's like casually like, yeah, you know, I did some production for Nujabes, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, what? Hold on. Samurai Champloo? Hold on, what? Like, he just like, and it's just, he just has so much history, and he's been in this shit, you know, really just tinkering along and figuring it out. Like, and it's like, it definitely shows, you know, in this record, you know. I mean, shit, man. Like, one of my favorite artists when I was a kid was this cat named, he's still one of my favorite artists. His name's Sage Francis.
Oh, yep.
He's a hip hop artist. And I listened to an album called Personal Journals, like back in the day. Like, that was like my religion when I was in high school. And there's a song called Broken Wings. Broken Wings. And I used to listen to that song every day. I know that song. I still know every word to that song. Come to find out, this motherfucker produced it.
Damn. That's like, wild.
You know, bro, like
Yeah.
full circle type shit, you know? And it's like, I'm like, I'm fanning out. I'm like, bro, you know Sage? He's like liking our posts and stuff. It's like, yeah, man, that's the homie. I'm like, wait, hold on, what? Like, you know, like he just has so much history in this shit, man. And I'm really glad we got to link up and do this record, because I feel like, you know, it really recharged the battery in my back and made me, you know, find a bunch of different bags that I'm so excited to, you know, let loose, you know, and in other ways. And I'm just really, I'm really proud, you know, to be a part of this record with bro, man. Yeah.
100%.
He's just a motherfucking force. And I really just hope we get to motherfucking continue to build. And you know, this is just the beginning. You know, we're definitely going to do a daily rituals too. So.
Exclusive right there. And who knows, maybe in 10 years, somebody is going to be working with you or doing something, an album with you, and they go, holy shit, you know freaking Scott? Or other way around, like, holy shit, you know Sirius? Like, and doing it that way. You're both legends. Like, and you're just, and again, we're talking about community, just paying it forward in that way. Like, when you find moments to be able to work with people in that way, you don't, like, you're just working with people. And you're just having conversations and creating and building together. And who knows what might happen, but sometimes beautiful shit happens.
Yeah,
and it's awesome.
Talk. Yeah. My other one. Sorry.
Oh yeah, go for it.
So I want to give flowers to my homie GG. He went by Great Granite. He's a artist in the city. He goes by Jared Dunamis now, but he was the first person to hit me up, hear my music. He heard my band. I was in a band called Indian City Weather, and he heard my band and hit me up and was like, hey, I want you to come be a part of this project we're doing in Broad Ripple. It's called The Gateway, and it's just like, you know, a weed-themed album, you know. And Jay Brookins, who helps run Trees, he produced beats. So he produced this project called The Gateway, and GG invited me out. That's where I met OJ for the first time. That's where I met Freddie Bonds. That's where I met, you know, Burning Heaven. So many different people who are consistent people in my life. You know, I walked into that basement for the first time and met all of them. And, you know, Jared just opened up, you know, his wing for me and really just kind of like took me in and like showed me the ropes in a lot of different ways, man. So I always one up Gigi for being the first person to, give me a shot and put me on game, man. Yeah.
I'm here for it. Shout him out. Shout out Gigi. Shout out everybody. And shout out to Matelic McKinnon. Oh, I just pointed out flowers that aren't here right now. Shout out to Matelic McKinnon and Frida's Flowers for sponsoring that segment. Frida's Flowers Indie for all your floral needs. Y'all, I really, really appreciate it. What is next, or what happens now as the album is coming out, is out? What's the rollout like?
Yeah, man, with the album drops January 31st on streaming services. We're going to drop it on the 28th on Bandcamp. For the real heads, people want to support, they can. I think after this, we just going to put out some videos. We already had to work on, he's doing production on Bloody Knuckles too.
Okay.
So we got some crazy heat for
Draco
that.
said y'all had been getting in.
Bro,
Okay.
it's bad. Yeah.
That's what he said.
The stuff I've heard is insane.
Yeah, bro. But I mean, after that, like, I think we was talking last night about maybe, because we got songs that didn't make the project. We got beats, that we still want to use. They're artists I wanted to get on the album that I just couldn't. So, spring we might do a deluxe,
Okay.
Lord willing, some label picks it up, we'll do some vinyl, So, yeah, man, I think we just really want to get it out to the people and just let it do its thing for a little bit,
For sure.
Yeah.
Any shows related to here, Brooklyn, or anywhere that might be happening?
We're going to work on something. I know we've talked about that. Maybe doing something this year out there where he at. Celebrate
Brooklyn.
the record.
Do it when my family vacation's out there so I can go.
Yeah.
But, well, y'all, again, I appreciate you being here. Appreciate the opportunity to talk about the project. Excited for people to be able to tap in and not only be affirmed, but walk away with that fire in their belly and ready to go for 2025. You said Bandcamp, streaming services. Where all do we get the music? Where do we find and follow both of you? How do we support? And what are all the ways that you need us to do that going forward?
Yeah. The album will be out on Bandcamp on the 28th. I love Bandcamp as a platform because you can support the artist directly. I just think it's a great concept and a great platform. So I always try and drop my records on Bandcamp first to give people and the fans the opportunity to support directly if they want to. And then we'll drop it on streaming services. I don't even know, bro. Like I'm so like, I can finally breathe. Like, this shit's done. The concept, the artwork's done. The shit's uploaded. Like,
that's nice.
I'm just feeling lighter. You know, I'm just happy to be feeling lighter.
Yeah, same for sure. A lot of work went into it, so it's like, a relief to let it loose,
For sure.
You gotta let that songbird fly,
100%. Let the songbird fly. Well, we're going to have it all linked in the show notes anyways, but I just love for y'all to be able to voice it out loud for the people because they got to hear it. It's time. They need to hear it, and I'm excited for them to hear it as well. When part 2 comes out, we're probably going to have another conversation. If there's a deluxe version that comes out, would love to talk to you about that too. But other than that, Sirius, Scott, thank you so much for coming through and talking with me.
Appreciate you,
Yeah,
Patrick.
man.
Thank
Appreciate you. Thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
Everybody else, new episodes every Tuesday, YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, conversationpeacepod.com for the archives, for merch, and for the open door. If you're interested, check out the open door. Click that at the top. We also have another event coming up. Check out the website for that too, or you can go and sign up for our newsletter, Conversation Piece of newsletter every Monday. Last but not least, at Conversation Peace Pod, so all the social media apps, except for all of the terrible white supremacist ones. And that's about it. I've been Patrick Armstrong. That's John Overton and Popular Rapture on the mics. Mike Lee and Mike Lee Productions on the cameras. That's Sirius Blvck. That's Scott Matelic. It is Pattern, the Studs. I forgot what the outro was, but that's it. This has been Conversation Piece, and we'll see y'all soon.